Hello, this is Maria from Little Knits. As you already know, my next video tutorial will be um, about this bee outfit. But until the tutorial will be ready for you on my channel, I want to make you another short tutorial for this part of the leg. And I decided so only because, as you can see here, the heel of this footed romper will be worked in black, and it will be very hard for you to see the steps for this part. Also, the two is worked in black with the black yarn. So I have worked here a couple of rows with the same number of stitches that we have here for our leg. This bee outfit, it's not quite friendly beginner pattern, because we are working circular, and we are working with two colors, and this will be a little difficult. We are making here short rows for this heel. We are making this part back and forth. We are sewing, we are picking up stitches for the sleeves. Yeah, it's not quite an easy pattern, but I will try my best to give you step by step the best explanation, so you can work your own bee outfit. Okay, so we will work with double pointed needles in circular, and as I said, I have the exactly number of stitches that we will use in our pattern. I have 26 stitches, 13 on one double pointed needle and 13 on the other. So let's pretend that we are working with the black yarn, and before to start and work the heel, we need to make a decrease at the beginning of the first needle and at the beginning of the second needle. So let's say this is our beginning of the row, and I will first knit 2 stitches together and then knit the rest of the stitches. So remember, we started with 26 stitches. Okay, so I've done the stitches for my first double pointed needle, so I've made a decrease here at the beginning. Now turn and make another decrease by knitting the first 2 stitches together, and then this also will be the part where we start the heel. Okay, so we've made a decrease at the beginning. Now we will knit until the last stitch. Okay, almost at my last stitch. So this is my last stitch. Okay, I will not knit. I won't knit this last stitch. With the yarn in the back of your right double pointed needle, slip the last stitch as if you purl on your right needle. Then take your yarn and wrap it around this last stitch. Place this last stitch again on your left needle and then turn your work like this. Your yarn always need to be on the back of your needle, the right needle. Then bring it in the front because we will purl until the last stitch. So purl until you reach your last stitch. As you can see, the heel is worked back and forth in stockinette stitch. This is my last stitch. Bring your yarn again in the back of your work. Slip this last stitch as if you purl. Bring your yarn again in the front of your work. Pass this last stitch on your left needle again and turn the work. Remember, always this yarn will be in the back of your work. So we just wrapped this last stitch. Can you see here? Now we are knitting until the last 2 stitches. So knit, okay, I am at my last 2 stitches. As you can see, let me show you. My last stitch is already wrapped and I need to do the same with this stitch. So with the yarn in the back of your work, slip this stitch as if you purl. Bring the yarn in the front of your work and pass again this stitch on your left needle. So you have now 2 stitches on your left needle. Turn your work with the yarn in the front of your work. Now bring the yarn, with the yarn in the back of your work, bring the yarn in the front because you will purl until the next until you reach the last 2 stitches. So these are my last 2 stitches. Bring your yarn in the back of your work, slip this stitch as if you purl. Bring the yarn again in the front of your work and pass again the stitch on your left needle, so you can have 2 stitches on your left needle. Now turn your work again with this yarn in the back of your work, and again we will knit until the last 3 stitches. So knit until the last 3 stitches, and we repeat the process for this stitch, the first stitch. So with the yarn in the back of your work, slip this stitch as if you purl onto your right needle. Then bring the yarn in the front of your work and pass this stitch again on your left needle. Can you see here? So I wrapped this stitch. Now turn your work. Again we have the yarn in the back of the work, and because we will purl, we need to bring the yarn in the front and purl until the last 3 stitches. My last 3 stitches, and we need to wrap this stitch. Bring the yarn in the back of your work, slip this, so you have now on your left needle you have 3 stitches. You need to slip this first stitch onto your right needle, bring the yarn in the front and slip again the stitch on your left needle. Turn your work with the yarn in the back of your work and knit until the last 4 stitches. Okay, so these are my 4 stitches. You have the yarn in the back of your work. Slip the first stitch on your, from your left needle as if you purl. Bring the yarn in the front and place this stitch again on your left needle. Turn your work. Your yarn is in the back of your work. Now bring the yarn in the front and purl until the last 4 stitches. I have 4 stitches. Bring your yarn in the back of your work, slip this first stitch, bring the yarn in the front of your work, place this stitch again on your left needle, turn the work, and now knit until the last 5 stitches. So these are my 5 stitches. I need to wrap this first stitch. You already can see these wrapped stitches. Okay, you have the yarn in the back of your work. Slip the first stitch as if you purl. Bring the yarn in the front of your work. Slip again this stitch on your left needle. Turn your work and purl until the last 5 stitches. So you need to purl 2 stitches, only 2 stitches. I have 5 here, 2, 4, 5. Again, bring the yarn in the back of your work, slip this first stitch as if you purl, bring the yarn in the front of your work, slip this stitch again onto the left needle. Okay, let me show you. We have like a V here, if you can see. And you can already see the heel is formed. So we've done our short rows. We wrapped 5 stitches here at the beginning and 5 stitches at the end of the needle. And between these 5 and 5 stitches, we have 2 normal stitches. Now, the last part is to knit all the stitches from your left needle. So I'm knitting 1, 2. This is a wrapped stitch. I will pick up this, knit the stitch and pass over this loop over the stitch. Again, left this loop, knit the stitch and pass over the stitch this loop from the wrapping. This is the loop from the wrapping. This is my loop. You can grab with your finger this loop. Knit the stitch and then pass over this loop over your stitch. Again, take this loop, knit the stitch and pass over the loop over the stitch. And the last stitch. Insert here in the loop, work the stitch and pass over this loop. So this is how it looks. Now turn your work and purl until you reach the last 5 stitches on your needle. We have 12 stitches in total. Okay, 2, 4, 5. Okay, now you can see where you have the wrap yarn. Place it on your left needle and purl together with the stitch. So this is the loop. I am placing this loop on my left needle and I will purl together with the stitch, this loop. Again, this is my loop from wrapping the stitch for short rows. Place it on your left needle and purl together with your stitch. have 2 more stitches. Again, bring this loop on your left needle and purl this loop together with the stitch. And my last stitch, this is the loop. I place it on my left needle and purl together with my stitch. Turn your work, and this is, let me show you, this is the heel. So we've worked the short rows. Okay, now as you can see, it is a difference of rows between the front part and the back part with the heel. And now we will continue to work in round, but on the first 2-3 rows, we need to close the gap here between the front part and the back part with the heel. And the easiest way to do this is to first pick up the loop between the 2 needles and place it on your left needle and knit together with the first stitch, and then continue to work all the stitches to knit. Now we are only knitting. We are not working anymore back and forth. Okay, now turn. This is actually the beginning of the row, but you can see here I have a large gap. What I am doing, I will see the stitches here and pick up one and place it on the left needle, and then work together with the first stitch. Pull tight here and continue to knit your stitches. Turn your work, pick up another stitch. This time we won't pick up this loop. We will pick half of the stitch from here. Place it on your left needle and knit together with the first stitch, and continue to knit all the stitches from this double pointed needle. Okay, let's see. Can you see how we just closed this gap? But I will pick up another stitch just to be sure I don't have any a gap here. So I am picking up again one stitch. Actually, it's half of a stitch, and place it on my left needle and knit it together with the first stitch, and continue to work the stitches. And that's it. I won't pick up any more stitches because I think it's enough and I don't have gaps on the sides anymore. This is probably the hardest tutorial I've ever made because it's not easy to explain this technique, especially because I don't know very much about this technique. So continue to work. I will continue to work 2-3 rows more to show you the progress. For this part, which probably is the hardest from our tutorial. And now I will show you how my work look so far. Okay. So this is the heel. And now, look here. And now, normally we will continue to work in round, in knit stitch. At some point, we will decrease until we have 10 stitches on each double pointed needle. And let's pretend that now we want to close the foot here. And the best and easiest way to do this is to purl, to cast off by purling together one stitch from the back needle and one stitch from the front needle together like this. So I am picking up one stitch here and one stitch here and purl them together. I have one stitch on my right needle. Again, picking up one stitch from the back needle and one stitch from my left needle, purl them together. I have 2 stitches on my right needle. I will pass the first over the next one and I've made a decrease. Again, one stitch from the back needle, one stitch from the front needle, purl them together. You have 2 stitches on your right needle, pass over the first stitch over the next one. Again, one stitch from the back needle, one stitch from my front needle, purl them together. You have 2 stitches on your right needle, pass over the first stitch. Again, one stitch from the back needle, one from my front, purl them together, pass over, and this is how we close the leg. This is the two of our leg. I will show you right away. I do hope this will help you to understand this method. In case you have doubts or question, message me so I can guide you. So this is how we close the two. This is the heel, and this is how we will work for this bee outfit. But because here we have two colors, it will be a little more difficult. So if you have the time to practice a little bit, this part, it will be perfect for you, because it will be easy once the tutorial will be ready to work this part. I hope I give you the right explanations, but please, if you have any doubts, message me, and I will guide you step by step to make this. Or if you think this tutorial is not helping, I will try my best to make another one, and maybe everything will be all right. So this is it. Thank you for watching. Stay safe and see you. Bye bye.